Alright guys, I have something a little bit different and something that I am very excited for today. I am finally going to be doing a tier list, and I figured of course I'd have to do it on Halo, and I figured why not go through and rank every single campaign mission that has been in a Halo FPS. I have replayed through every single campaign recently, and I am really excited to talk about all these, because I've talked about a lot of these campaigns before. I've done my mission rankings for 3 of them, but a lot of the campaigns I also have never really given my thoughts on, like Halo 4s and Halo 5s, and Halo 2s really, so I'm really excited to talk about what I like about each mission, what I don't like. We're just going to go through, sit back, relax, and have a good time in a very chill video just discussing every single mission that has been in a Halo game, and then after I finish up with each campaign, I'll kind of move on to discussing what I liked in general about that campaign, and then we'll move on to the next one. So let's begin with the first mission of the franchise all the way back in 2001, Halo CE, The Pillar of Autumn. A mission that is iconic as it is, I'm still going to put it at a C. Still fun, very basic, a good introduction. I don't want to repeat myself too much in this video, but I feel like every single introduction mission in this franchise, the first mission of every game, is roughly the same. Not like they're all drastically different, but just meaning they're all just an introduction to the game's mechanics. Very basic scenarios, nothing too crazy. The Pillar of Autumn is no different, but it is super iconic, still very fun, and a good introduction. The second mission, Halo, one of the most iconic in the franchise. S. I absolutely love this mission. It is fantastic. So many great moments, like when you leave the pod for the first time, when you leave the cave, and just the music is incredible throughout this mission. The amount of freedom it offers you to go get the Marines in any order you want. Incredible mission. I absolutely love it. S tier, no doubt. Truth and Reconciliation, I'm going to put at a B. I do really enjoy this mission. The sniper part at the beginning is so much fun. I love it. The part where you enter the ship, for me, I don't love that as much. I kind of found myself thinking it was a little tedious once you get on the ship. I still think it's a great mission though, and I still really enjoy it. The Silent Cartographer, one of my favorite missions in the franchise. Also again for me an easy S, because Halo CE's campaign is like pretty perfect and pretty incredible just for what it did, obviously, in the grand scope of things. I think it's just an incredible campaign, at least the first half. I think some parts in the second half are a little weak, but overall I think it's just fantastic. This mission is incredible. Storming the beach at the beginning is just pure Halo. Once again, the amount of freedom it offers you, just like the mission Halo. The ring is beautiful. Just a very fun mission. All the indoor engagements are great. Assault on the Control Room. I am going to give an A. Another very good mission. Just the variety of encounters is so much fun. But outside of the vehicle combat on this mission, it also is just a really good time. The Scorpion stuff, just overall very well designed, very well made level. Next, 343 Guilty Spark, the first introduction to the Flood, I'm also going to put at a B. And this mission is weird because it definitely, there are a lot of things I really enjoy about it. Very atmospheric, still very fun, but this is one of the worst offenders when it comes to the repetitive rooms in Halo CE, and that is kind of the worst part about it. Still fun though, still very atmospheric, and you cannot ever forget your first introduction to the Flood, and I don't think anyone ever will. Next, moving on to the Library, I'm going to put, unfortunately, I think it might have to be done, I'm going to throw the Library at an F. And I don't actually know if I think it's that bad. I kind of get what they were doing with the overwhelming zombie kind of feeling you're supposed to have. And I think it's decently fun with that for like the first maybe 2 doors you have to open. But then after, was it like 10 floors or 10 doors you have to open? It is absurd. And I know even the devs were like, yeah, we made this mission way too long. And it just goes on for an incredible amount of time. And it's, yeah, that's upsetting. But besides that, I think it's a decent mission. But I mean, it is probably one of my least favorite, if not my least favorite in the franchise. So I'm going to throw it at F. 2 Betrayals, we are going to put at another B. Another very fun mission, just Assault on the Control Room, but backwards with some stuff added. I wish that the CE graphics or CE Anniversary graphics didn't completely screw this mission up with the lighting. That sucks. If you guys are ever playing this mission, I would definitely recommend playing it on original graphics because they significantly changed the lighting in the Anniversary graphics, and it makes it a lot worse in my opinion. But this is our first mission with the Flood and the Covenant all together. Super fun, great mix of the two factions. Absolutely love it. Keys. This is one of the least memorable missions in this game for me. I'm going to throw it at a D. I never really found it special. The kind of green coolant section's kind of memorable, but it's just more Flood and Covenant. You're back on the Truth and Reconciliation. I'm just not a huge fan. I don't really love it. The last mission of the game, the Mall, I'm going to put at a B. It's cool returning to the Autumn. Destroying the fusion reactors is kind of a different objective. And then how could you ever forget the Warthog run? With first time you play that, it is so much fun. I still think the Halo 3 one's a little bit more enjoyable, but no doubt the CE one has its place, and it is very fun. So yeah, that is going to end us with Halo CE's campaign. As you can tell, very, very solid. The amount of S, A, and B missions is over half the ones in the game, and the only ones that I don't really enjoy are Keys and the Library, but every other mission I think is very fun. And Halo CE's campaign is one of my favorites in the franchise. I think it's just about perfect, and I absolutely love it. So very solid campaign. Alright, let's move on to Halo 2, a campaign that I have a bunch of mixed emotions on, and every time I replay it, I have a bunch of things that I don't really like, and then I have a bunch of things that I do enjoy in it, so it's a really mixed bag for me. Let's go ahead and begin with the first mission, Cairo Station. Once again, like most intro missions, average C. Good introduction to the new enemies and the new elements in it. The space part at the end is kind of memorable. Just a good first mission, solid, average, not much to say. Outskirts. I am also going to throw... Actually, Outskirts, I'm going to put it a B. Because this is one of the more memorable missions in the game for me, I'd say. I don't really like the defend this position part at the beginning, but if you've ever played this mission, you probably know you can just run on the rooftops past everything at the beginning, which is a very cool addition. Obviously, the sniper jackals are pain on this mission, along with most of this campaign, and it's very difficult on Legendary, but I still think it's one of the better missions in the game, in my opinion, and I still enjoy it. Speaking of good Halo 2 missions, Metropolis, I'm going to put at an A, maybe my only A for Halo 2. I may have one more mission. Halo 2 doesn't have a lot of missions I really like, but I think this mission kind of most encapsulates the defend Earth kind of mantra of the game, which is that you're just in New Mombasa defending all the civilian setting, and I think it is pretty good at executing that. The bridge part at the beginning is cool, and this is also the mission where we get our first real Scarab fight in the series, and it is super fun, and just a mission that I really enjoy playing. The Arbiter, our first ever Arbiter mission, I'm going to put at a C. Once again, I think it is fine. It's kind of cool playing as the Arbiter at first, and the Banshee part towards the end is sort of memorable. Some cool music, but other than that, a very standard mission. It's pretty much just another introduction mission, but this time it's to the Arbiter. Next, the Oracle, a mission that I completely forgot about, and one that I don't like, and I'm going to put at a D. It's just way too long in my opinion. It drags. It is the first appearance of the Flood in this game, which is kind of cool, but it just... nothing about it really works for me. I hate the part where you're just in an elevator going up defending it, and I don't think the Flood in this game are very fun to fight, so it's just really boring. And then it ends with the Heretic fight, which is kind of neat, but it's just, I don't know, it's pretty lame. You just have like most boss fights in Halo, it's not Halo's strong suit. It is just not one of my favorite missions, and one that I'd really never choose to replay. Next, Delta Halo. One of, if not my favorite mission in this game, probably, I'm going to throw at an A tier up with Metropolis. I do really enjoy this mission, mainly because, especially on the Anniversary graphics, which I played it on both, but I most recently played it on Anniversary, this mission looks absolutely beautiful. The setting of Delta Halo is great, and this was really the mission that, for me, flexes kind of the weapon sandbox in Halo 2 specifically, and I guess just in the franchise, but this is a Halo 2 mission. A beautiful aesthetic, a variety of encounters, just very fun, very enjoyable mission. Right after Delta Halo, we have Regret, which I'm going to put at a B. Another very solid mission that is, that is very basic. The underwater part is kind of neat, and then you're kind of the whole mission, you get this feeling, you're like, alright, we're going to go kill Regret, and the whole mission kind of has that, like, boss fight energy to it that I think really elevates it and makes it very fun. And then when we get to the actual Regret boss fight, what can I say? It's really stupid. It's really silly. You just beat Regret to death. I think it could have been done better, kind of if they had all the enemies, like, attack you right after. They do, but you can just run away. Obviously, it could have been done better, but I think the Regret boss fight is really silly. The whole mission leading up to that point, though, I think is very solid, and I really like. Sacred Icon, C. Average, fine. It's a pretty much better the Oracle for me. Good atmosphere. The Flood combat isn't as terrible for me as the Oracle, but still not great. The Sentinel Enforcer is kind of memorable. Pretty fun. Not much to say. Quarantine Zone, a mission I forgot about, but I'm kind of debating between a B and a C, and I may want to throw it up at a B just to kind of give Halo 2 some, I guess, give it a leg a little bit up, because there's not a bunch of missions I really enjoy, so I'll try and put it at a B. I kind of just enjoy the chaos of this mission, kind of how it just is a battlefield and you're playing as the Arbiter, fighting all these different vehicles, especially on Halo 2 Anniversary. Gene's song is playing, which is an insane and incredible track in that anniversary soundtrack that I absolutely love. And it's just a crazy battlefield, tons of vehicles, and it's one of the better missions in the game that I actually forgot about. Gravemind, the infamous, horrendously difficult mission that I'm going to put at a C. If you're not playing on Legendary, it's okay. The first encounter with the brutes is whatever, but it's still, even on normal difficulty, is long and difficult, and yeah, from a gameplay standard, I don't love it. One thing I do appreciate, and probably my favorite part from this mission, is that this is the mission where you're really witnessing the Great Schism happen. You're seeing it happen. You're going through, playing as Chief, watching the brutes fight each other, or watching the brutes and the elites fight each other. That is kind of cool. And then also the part with the grav lifts is also kind of memorable. Still has a bunch of repetitive rooms. It's, yeah, I don't know. Well, it's real hard to place that mission, but I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would replaying it all the past few times I have, so I'm going to throw it at a C. Uprising, a mission I wanted to enjoy more than I actually did. I'm also going to stick at a C. It's really linear at the beginning, which I don't really have a huge problem with, but then when it kind of opens up to some fun vehicle combat, it just does not feel as satisfying or as fun as I want it to be, which again is kind of a thing with the whole Halo 2 campaign that I'll talk about in a second, but something about it just feels sloppy. It does not come together in a way I should, and I almost want to put it lower for kind of like raising my expectations for it, but I think I'll stick it at a C. It's not bad. High Charity, our finale for Chief in Halo 2, I'm also going to throw at a C, along with a lot of this campaign being that it's fine. I do like the setting of High Charity. I think that's pretty cool. This is our only Chief Flood mission in Halo 2, which is neat, and it is decently short, which also I enjoyed, but also I didn't like that it kind of is lacking the finality it needs to really be like, this is the last Chief mission in this game, but also this game's obviously campaign is a little whack, especially with the way it ends, so whatever. C is fine. The Great Journey, I'm going to try and put a little bit higher. I almost want to put it at C because I don't really love it. I may go back and change that. I'm going to stick it at B for now. Fighting the brutes at the beginning, like most of this campaign, just isn't really enjoyable. Besides that, the Banshee combat is not as fun as it should be, I think. It's still fun. And then the Tartarus boss fight sucks and is not great. And yeah, I almost want to put it as, you know what? I'm going to do it. I may go back and change that later. I have that different. There are a few of these where I was like, maybe I'll change them when I'm actually recording the video. But yeah, I'm actually going to stick that at a C. So Halo 2's campaign is fine. I know there are a lot of people that adore Halo 2, and I understand why, especially what it did for Xbox Live and multiplayer. But the campaign is one of my least favorites. It's probably that and Halo 5 are the only ones where I don't really. I know it's like heresy to compare that to Halo 5, which trust me, Halo 5's is garbage compared to this. But I will say the strongest thing about the campaign is the narrative, obviously, with the Arbiter and Chief and all that stuff going on. Even though the way it ends, I'm not a huge fan of. The stuff with the playing as the Arbiter, getting that perspective, the stuff with all the Heretic and Tartarus, I think is very solid. I just don't think a lot of the missions really end up being as fun or memorable as they should be, especially with how the Flood are fought in this game and the Brutes. I just don't think it really comes together super well. Still appreciate it. I still think it's generally fun, just not a campaign I'm ever really looking to revisit except for maybe 2 or 3 missions. Alright, Halo 3's campaign. One of maybe my favorites? It's either that or Reach. I really cannot decide. Some days it switches, but the last time I replayed Halo 3 I absolutely loved it, as usual. So let's get into it. Sierra 117, I'm going to put at C. Like, I don't even need to repeat myself, other than the fact that this mission looks beautiful, even by 2020 standards. The lighting in the jungle is incredible, and just, I really enjoy the aesthetic of that mission, and even though the gameplay is nothing really crazy, no crazy encounters. Crow's Nest, I'm going to put, not at A, at B. Crow's Nest is a mission that I used to not like as much, but I kind of found myself enjoying more now. Lots of memorable sequences like defending the hangar, escaping the exploding base. The music in it is great, that track Last of the Brave. Just a very solid, very, I would say, needed mission in this campaign. Savo Highway, I am also going to put at a B. A just very solid, very fun vehicle level. The reason it's not higher is because I just think there's better vehicle levels in this game, but not much to say, it's a good time. The Storm, one of my favorite missions in this franchise, I'm going to put at an A. The Storm I just appreciate because it feels like the entire thing feels like this war is coming to an end. It feels like you're on a battlefield, a great presentation to it. And then of course we get the Scarab fight in this mission. Well, one of many Scarab fights in this campaign, but this Scarab fight I really appreciate because there are so many different things you can do to take it out. You can use the missile pod, you can ride on the back of a mongoose, you can use the grav lift and get on it early. There are just so many ways you can take it out. Once again, so many things that made the early Halo games great. And then it ends on that note taking out the AA gun, which is one of the most iconic sequences, I would say, in the franchise. Moving on to Floodgate. Probably my favorite Flood mission in the franchise, if I'm being honest. I actually think this mission is pretty solid. I'm going to put it at a B. I think that is the highest, looking at all these. Yeah, besides the Maw, which we also fight Covenant on. I think this is the highest, like, just Flood mission. Or besides 3 for the Guilty Spark. Both those I think are pretty solid. But yeah, I just think Floodgate is incredibly good. And then also, what I really appreciate about it is that this is the mission that I think best shows the Flood, like, taking over and infecting a new area. Watching that happen, especially with all the Marines, you're like, this is a big deal. The Flood are on Earth now, and you kind of feel in this mission, which I really appreciate. The Ark. I cannot decide between S or A because I really, really like this mission. I think we're going to stick it at A for now. We might switch that later. I love this mission. It is fantastic. Every single encounter is so much fun. There's a wide variety of them. So many memorable moments, like when the dawn comes in and everything on the battlefield goes flying. And then you end on that massive battle at the end. Just when you think the mission's over, you have this great fight, another Scarab fight, and then the mission's still not done, where you fight all the brutes inside. Just a jam-packed mission that is so much fun. One of my favorite missions, no doubt. The Covenant. Speaking of my favorite missions, probably the favorite one in the franchise. I mean, it's hard to say that about all the S-tier ones, but yeah, the Covenant is absolutely phenomenal. It is jam-packed, once again, with every single type of encounter that exists in Halo. There's indoor fights, there's outdoor stuff. There's just the Hornets are so much fun. The amount of freedom it offers you to go anywhere you want. Just like dropping yourself off on little islands, messing with your friends. I have so many fun memories with that. And just when you think the mission's over, you get the tank section, the music kicks in, the 2 Scarabs drop down, and it is incredible. Oh, it is my favorite thing. And the mission's still not done. You fight the Flood at the end. Not after you've just teamed up with the Flood, and then you fight the Flood at the... It's just... it is all... I love that mission. There's so much in it. Sure, I guess it could be a little long, but like... I mean, every single part's so much fun, so I have no problem with it. One of my favorites. Cortana. The kind of runner-up to the library when it comes to lame Flood missions. It's not terrible, though. I definitely think it's more fun than the Oracle or Keys, or definitely the library. I kind of enjoy the setting of it. That's cool. It is just like the library. It could be worse. It's got a decently unique objective, I guess, with having to destroy those things at the end. Not bad, just average. Halo, one of the most memorable missions, I would say, because of the Warthog run at the end. But even before you get to that, you have your last standoff ever with the Flood, which that's just in itself kind of cool that this is the last time you will ever be fighting the Flood. You kind of feel the importance of it. This trilogy is coming to an end with this mission. Everything feels important and cinematic. The Guilty Spark boss fight is whatever. I'd rather it be really short than painfully tedious like the Tartarus one. And then we get the perfect throwback to the CE Warthog run with this Warthog run, which is, I just think, it's like a step up completely. It's dynamic, great music, visually insane. Absolutely love it. Great mission. So yeah, Halo 3's campaign, if you can't tell, I had really only positive things to say other than the mission Cortana not being super enjoyable, but I still think it's fun because the gameplay in Halo 3 I just think is so enjoyable. And then Sierra 117 I also just really like. There's just nothing about it that I can really justify putting it up at B. But a fantastic campaign. Maybe my favorite campaign. We'll talk about Reach in a second. But yeah, just absolutely love it. I think it works so well. It flows so well. Everything about it's pretty great. I don't really have any huge issues other than I guess the story on some elements can be a little flat or not really come together, but I don't really have any problems with that. I just think it's amazing. Alright, Halo 3 ODST. A Halo game that I really appreciate, and one that I think unfortunately is going to kind of suffer by just the structure of that game and the way this is going, because when I think about ODST, there's not, besides like 1 or 2 exceptions, there's not really any missions that stand out a bunch. However, when I think about ODST, I think about walking around New Mombasa on the Mombasa street sections in the dark when it's raining with the smooth jazz playing that makes that campaign incredible. So yeah, unfortunately, the Mombasa streets I can't really put on here as an actual mission. If I was, though, I mean, I'd probably put it at like A or S because it's just so memorable and I love it. As the actual missions go, let's discuss them. Tire Plaza. Another C, not even going to talk about it. There's literally nothing to say. Uplift Reserve, I'm also going to put at a C. A fun vehicle level, nothing really too crazy about it. It's pretty standard, pretty average. The tower collapsing's kind of the cool part, but besides that, not much to say. Kazingo Boulevard, the obligatory tank mission in a Halo game, I'm also going to put at a C. I wish I could put it higher, but, I mean, there's nothing about it that's really crazy. I don't love the defense sequence at the end. That kind of brings it down a little bit for me, or else I maybe would be able to put it at B. But still a fun mission, no doubt. Just not much to really say. Oni Alpha Site, I'm going to put, again, at a C. Another solid mission. Again, I don't really have any problems with it, but, I mean, arming the bombs is cool. But, again, it's a lot of the mission is just defending that one section until you make your way up the elevator and then fight the jetpack brutes, which is, I mean, that's probably the most memorable part of the mission for me. And blowing up the bridge. But, yeah, I mean, it's a solid mission. I think it's fun. NMPD HQ, we are finally going to move one up to B. I really appreciate this mission. This is probably the most memorable one for me in the game because the sniper section at the beginning is like, I just think it's fun, it's whatever, it's decent. And then you cross that beam, and then it is just, I love the mission all from that point. The skybox is great. The music is insane. I knew the like smooth jazz about ODST soundtrack was great, but I forgot when I replayed it, that one track, I think it's called Air Traffic Control, is incredible. I love it. It just makes defending that entire sequence at the end so good, and probably my favorite defend this section sequence that's in any of these games. So I do really enjoy that mission, so I'm going to put it at a B. Kikowani Station I am also going to put at a B up there with Uplift Reserve. I do think this is a also very fun mission. The atmosphere at night is great. The Banshee combat is fun. We also get a very cool Scarab fight at the end, which is our only Scarab fight at night, I'm pretty sure, in the franchise, which makes it cool. It has a cool explosive ending, a very fun mission, and definitely these two, and we'll get to the last mission in a sec, but these two and Coastal Highway are definitely the standouts for me of this campaign. Data Hive. Another C. As you can tell, a lot of this campaign is, I just think is fun, not much to say, great atmosphere, I like how it's claustrophobic. Not much to say. Just a great setting. That's really what makes the mission for me. Coastal Highway, I kind of want to put it in A just so I can get one ODST mission up there, but I don't know if I really enjoy it that much, so I think we're going to stick it at a B for now, and then I might put it on A in a second. I just enjoy this mission. I think it's fun. Definitely one of the more memorable ones in the campaign. Taking out the Phantoms is fun, and then you obviously have the Elephant the entire time, which is kind of a different objective. You have the city getting glassed in the background, which is a cool touch, and then you have that cool on-foot section that it ends on. But unfortunately, I don't think there's anything about it enough that really brings it up to an A or an S for me. Which is kind of bringing this whole campaign together. As you can tell, it's a lot of just solid, fun missions. There's not anything to really say, just they're solid Halo missions. But again, the most memorable part of this campaign is Mombasa Streets, which, unfortunately, is not an actual mission. But if I could put the entire game up there, I mean, I'd still say the campaign I enjoy more generally than Halo 2's or Halo 5's. Or maybe even Halo 4's. We'll have to talk about Halo 4 in a second. So yeah. Alright, one of my favorite Halo games, Halo Reach. I know it's got its issues, I'm aware. However, I still love this game, and more specifically, love this campaign. Mainly because of the presentation of everything, which can go a long way. And the missions themselves, I think, are mostly very good. Winter Contingency. Nothing to say about another intro mission. Oni Sword Base. I'm going to put at a B. It is a fun vehicle combat filled mission. The target designator is a very cool thing, but this mission still kind of feels like an introduction, which is why it isn't a little bit higher. But it is still, especially for a second mission in a game, I think very fun. It's kind of up there with like the jump from Pillar of Autumn to Halo and CE. The jump from Winter Contingency to Oni Sword Base I think is very, very appreciated. Nightfall, I'm also going to put at a B. A very clear throwback to Truth and Reconciliation. The Goudas are a really memorable thing, and I just think the mission overall, it's got a great tone to it like this entire campaign, but great atmosphere. I just think it's a very solid throwback and a very enjoyable mission. Tip of the Spear, A. Easy A. I love this mission. Great vehicle combat. There's just a wide variety of encounters, and then the objectives are basic of just taking out the AA guns, but even that you can even go in and destroy it, or you can do it from the outside with a turret. So many options. Absolutely love this mission. And that's not even talking about the part with the spire, which is just such a cool setting. Just like having that as a physical object that you can like interact with and jump off top of. And just, I really, really enjoy Tip of the Spear overall. Just so many memorable parts to it. One of my favorite missions in the franchise, without a doubt. Long Night of Solace. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to drop to a C. I wish I didn't have to, and that this mission was a little bit better. However, I kind of get what they were doing with the saber combat. I respect them for trying something different. However, it goes on a little bit too long. It's not as fun as it should be. I still appreciate that it's there. It's still like a memorable part of that campaign. But that is kind of what drags the mission down for me, because that is the main draw of it. Before we get to the saber combat, however, we do have that part where we're storming the beach with the awesome music playing. That's probably my biggest highlight from this mission. And then even when you're fighting inside the ship, nothing really too crazy or too special. It's just fun. But the beginning and the ending of the mission are really what kind of make it fun for me. The saber combat is kind of what drags it down. Exodus, a mission I really like. B, the whole aspect of protecting civilians in this mission is very fun, very different. Being in New Alexandria, and especially how it starts when you've just been thrown out of the ship and you don't have any ammo. That's a very cool touch, and once again, I can only repeat this so many times. Atmosphere, tone, everything about this mission, it gets that across very well. It gets across, I guess, the human aspect of how the fall of Reach affected all the people on the planet, and you're just watching them die, which is sad, but what needed to be done with this campaign. New Alexandria is gonna make its way to S tier. I love this mission. Kind of like the Covenant, in a way in which you have a flying vehicle and you have a bunch of freedom, but I don't want to repeat this again, but I am going to for this mission because it is one of the biggest things for it. The tone. Watching New Alexandria get glassed while you're just going through the missions, doing every single like little objective, and watching New Alexandria get glassed. It's beautiful. It has so much replayability with the random like generation of all the missions. There's all the cool like little Easter eggs like Club Herrera and being able to fly a Phantom. Just this mission is what makes Halo for me. And if Halo Infinite could somehow do something kind of like the Covenant and New Alexandria but put their own spin on it, it would make me I would absolutely love the mission, I'm sure. As we near the end, the package, a mission that I want to like more, but I'm still going to put it at B, which is still pretty good. Yeah, the package, I think, starts out very strong with a fun tank section that I think is really enjoyable. And then when we get to the part where we have to defend Halsey's lab, that can go on a bit too long. I don't love that. I like the environment. I like how it's like, well, in Firefight map Glacier. I do enjoy it. I just think that second half of it kind of is not as fun as the first half, which kind of drags it down for me. The Pillar of Autumn. I cannot decide between a B or an A. And I may also go back and switch that. The Pillar of Autumn, for me, is just super memorable because... but also it's got the thing like where you're driving, there's the little tease of the Scarab, the Mongoose run at the beginning is decently fun, but then most of the mission is just a pretty solid standoff with the Covenant. There's really nothing too special about it that I really would want to put up at A tier. So, I don't know. But also, I do have every other A tier mission as being a vehicle mission. And there aren't any vehicles in this mission other than the Mongoose at the beginning, so I think I may leave it up there for now. I do think it's a very solid conclusion to this game, and I enjoy it. Lone Wolf, you know what? I'm going to put Lone Wolf up at A, take Pillar of Autumn down to B. That is what I'm happy with. Okay, so yeah, Lone Wolf, I mean, it's an insanely different mission. There's nothing else like it in the franchise. Very fun, very sad. You literally only have one objective, and it's to lose. So, I mean, I enjoy it. It's very different. I like it. I appreciate that it's there. Very appropriate way to end the campaign, I would say. So, yeah, Halo Reach's campaign made 2 A tier missions and 1 S tier, which is very good and something we haven't seen since Halo 3's campaign. So, yeah, mainly CE, 3, and Reach are all, like, I adore all 3 of those. Mainly 3 and Reach, 3 and Reach, I just think are so much fun. And Reach, I'm going to say this for the last time, then we can put a pin in it for this video. The way that it conveys the atmosphere and the tone of the event and of the setting of Reach is what really makes it stand apart for me. Yes, Noble Team are shallow characters and they're mostly just cliches, I guess, but the story is about the fall of Reach, not really the individuals involved with it, and it's about the setting of Reach, and the way in which it presents that is what it does so well with, like, the shaky cam found footage stuff and the way it does all that, the music, the cinematography for the cutscenes, the way it presents all of that is what makes this campaign incredible for me. And then it put that in between and inside of all of these very fun missions. You have this campaign being one of my favorites in the franchise and one that I really enjoy. I get why people don't love it, and I understand, but that's just kind of the way I see it. Alright, Halo 4, a campaign that I probably have the most nostalgia for in this series. So we're going to see how this goes. I'll try and be fair, but I don't hate this campaign as much as some people do. In fact, I don't hate it at all. I think, if anything, if I were to just throw the campaign on here, I'd put it at a C or a B. It's definitely got its issues, but it's also got a lot of strong elements to it, I would say. Let's start off with the first mission, Dawn. That mission's really hard for me to place because I have so much nostalgia for coming home at 12:30 in 2012 and just popping it in and being just so, like, taken about by everything and the graphics and how everything looked. The mission itself, though, it's fine. It's an intro mission. Same thing for Requiem, which is pretty much just an intro mission, but with vehicles. The only memorable thing I would say about this mission is that one part where you come out of the cave and you see Requiem for the first time, kind of that little throwback to coming out of the pod and seeing Installation 04 for the first time. Seeing that, and is a moment that a lot of people still point to as being a beautiful moment from Halo 4's campaign that I agree with. Forerunner, B. Seeing all the Promethean stuff in this mission for the first time, even though I have issues with it and don't like the Prometheans really, kind of seeing all that stuff come together, like the weapons literally coming together in your hands, is super cool. And having the Prometheans and the Covenant fighting is a really nice touch. There are some decent encounters to it. And then the moment, however, that the mission kind of becomes for me like one that I would put at a B as opposed to a C is when you spawn in, go through the portal, and you see the cryptum in front of you, and you can choose to either go right or left and fight your way up. I think that part's very fun. The music is great. And you have that little ghost run at the end, which is also pretty memorable. A mission that is actually jam-packed with a lot of stuff, and one that I would say it's solid. I enjoy it. A mission kind of similar to Forerunner, being the next mission, Infinity, I'm also going to put at a B. As in, there's nothing really too crazy about it. The jungle setting is kind of cool. All the encounters are fine. I will say there's a scorpion part in this mission. Really, Halo 4's only scorpion? But no, there's one during Reclaimer. Yeah, no, that's not true. But yeah, kind of what I kind of think too as the scorpion run in this game, or at least I did, and then I always forgot it was there. It's not as fun as it should be, which sucks. And then we get to the Mantis part at the end, where you're defending the top of the Infinity with 117 playing. You've got the Cryptum in the sky, awesome skybox, great music playing. The Mantis, I can't decide if I really like that much, but I think it was fun enough. Just a solid mission. And what I would consider the peak of this game's campaign, Reclaimer. The only mission that I think about, really, when I think about this game's campaign, and probably the best mission, and my favorite. I'm going to put it in A tier. I really enjoy Reclaimer. The Mammoth is such a cool, kind of like, unique thing. Like, it feels like it should be in Halo. It doesn't feel like it's a weird thing 343 thought of that shouldn't be in Halo. Having all the weapons in it, it's just stocked full of, like, just a bunch of jetpacks and snipers and rockets and other Marines and BRs and Warthogs, and just stopping at each objective and doing something and having the target designator. There's a lot to talk about in this mission. Boarding the Lich is a very cool thing. Not as cool as, like, the Scarab or anything like that, but decently fun in terms of Halo 4's campaign. And then you have that final Halo 3-esque battle that you come into that is also very memorable, and a pretty cool part of this campaign overall. So yeah, Reclaimer, my favorite mission in the game, probably, yeah, definitely. And a solid mission that I really, really like. Shutdown, a mission that I wish was a little bit better, because I had hope for it when I learned that we were going to be able to fly a Pelican for the first time. Unfortunately, it was a weird 343 looking Pelican. This mission feels kind of inspired by New Alexandria, but the problem is that it lacks any style to it, I guess. Just flying to the little towers and then shooting phantoms there isn't really that fun. The Pelican is not as, like, dynamic or engaging at all as, like, the Hornet or the Falcon. And then when you actually get inside the, like, towers to do your encounters, they're not fun. Like, they're just not super, especially because you're fighting Prometheans for a lot of them, which isn't very fun in this game. It's just not super enjoyable. The only somewhat decent part is when you have the, like, structure falling apart at the end and you're running away trying not to, like, fall. That's kind of cool, but yeah, there's not much to say. Wish it was better. Composer. Another memorable mission for me in this game, I'm going to put at a B. I really enjoy the setting of it. I kind of just like seeing normal civilians again that are on the station and them having to like fight the Covenant. And this is also a strictly Covenant level, which I love. It's our last one because Midnight's all Prometheans. This is a mission I actually think is really fun. The sticky detonator is great. You have cool little moments like seeing the Covenant stuck in the airlocks, and then you can shoot them out into space. And this mission also conveys the desperation very well, I would say, of Chief, of Cortana, of Dr. Tilson, of everyone trying to prevent the Didact from stealing the Composer. It presents that, I would say, pretty well. And, yeah, it's a mission I appreciate and that I'm happy is included in this game. Midnight, the final mission of the game, I am going to put at an A. Some people may hate that. Sorry, because I have at least two A missions from every game, except Halo CE, which has S1, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think this mission is fun, and I think it accomplishes what it set out to do. The broadsword run at the beginning is different. I have really fond memories of it, and even replaying it, I mean, it could be a little bit more dynamic, but I think it's fine, especially with the music playing. It's 117, probably one of my favorite tracks in the franchise. Is great, especially when it opens up to that big area and you get those like that chapter part where the black bars come down and then you hear Lasky saying that he's taken over the Infinity. Very satisfying, very cool part. And then when you're actually inside fighting your way up to the Didact and you're dealing with all the stuff with Cortana, especially since a lot of that's like in mission and in gameplay, I think that's super cool. And then you have Arrival playing, which is another track that I really enjoy, and it just conveys the intensity of it so well. And I'd be lying if I said like every single time I'm playing this mission and that final part of Arrival's playing and I'm fighting that last night to try and go fight the Didact, that part always just gets to me as being like, I'm really invested right now. I'm really liking this. Again, that may just be me. That may just be like the nostalgia talking, but I really enjoy that part. Even when I replayed it like the past few times, like just a few days ago, I've still felt the exact same way. So yeah, the only worst part about this mission that's kind of keeping it from being better is the QuickTime event at the end. Why 343 has a boner for QuickTime events, I will never know. But the way they just take control away from the player in order for you to do that stuff at the end just doesn't really work for me. It's still better than Halo 5's, which we'll talk about. I cannot wait to get to Halo 5. But yeah, that's Midnight. I think it's pretty fun, actually. So yeah, Halo 4's campaign is a giant mixed bag. I definitely think it could have been like if 343 had gone an absolutely different direction for Halo 5, but still kind of continued parts of the Halo 4, like what they set up here. I don't think it would have been bad. It does a lot of decent stuff. I mean, there's two missions in it that I think are very solid, especially Reclaimer, like feels like a Halo mission to me. I think it's just more of that is what we need in this campaign. But then we have a lot of things like Shutdown, where it just kind of feels like they missed the mark. However, like besides some of the big like changes they made that completely missed the mark on Halo, I don't think it's bad at all. And from a narrative point, the stuff with Cortana and like humanizing Chief and making him an actual character, I actually really appreciate because I was like one of the people that's fine with that. I like a lot of the moments in this game with Chief, and I really like what it did with that part of the story. But with the Didact part of the story, that's where it kind of falls apart, and all the stuff with the librarian and the outside knowledge that I guess you kind of need to know in order to fully appreciate part of that campaign doesn't really work for me. So half the narrative's great, half the narrative's not, and I would say half the campaign is like good and the other half's not. So yeah, that's where we're at with this campaign. I still appreciate it though, and I have a soft spot for it that I'll always remember Halo 4 and appreciate the campaign. All right, Halo 5. I have not actually replayed this campaign other than when I replayed it in the past few days in like a couple years. So this was kind of fun going back and regaining my thoughts on everything. We'll get to it. Okay. Osiris, the first intro mission that is not going to be thrown in C. Instead, I'm going to put it at a D. Basically because there's literally nothing about it that is engaging or exciting or just anything. I mean, I'm not including cutscenes for this, obviously, but I know people have their issues with that opening cutscene, but maybe it's just the nostalgia talking once again, but I have like such fond memories of watching that for the first time. Sure, it's a little bit too much like the Avengers, and like it's kind of cool it's all one shot though. Whatever, that has nothing to do with the mission. The mission is less than average. It's lame. Blue Team is a little bit better, and I'd say a way better of an introduction to the game's mechanics than Osiris. The stealth part is kind of neat. The setting, not too exciting, and there's some cool parts with like some vertical gameplay that kind of take advantage of the Spartan abilities. And then the hunters part is also kind of neat. It's just seeing, I mean, hunters are like, they kind of made the hunters scary again. which was kind of cool because hunters were just kind of thrown into stuff. But having the way they're presented here in this mission, I think is pretty neat. And then the Banshee parts, whatever, it's fine. That's why the mission gets a C. Glast, I'm going to put at a D next to Osiris. This mission's really short and really lame. That's what I like. Literally, when I replayed it, I was like, all right, what can I say about this mission? Really short, really lame. Those were the first things that came to my mind, because unless you use the Scorpion for it, which makes it a little bit more fun, if you just use the Warthog, it's just a boring fight. Like, you have that little vehicle run at the beginning, but you just have a boring fight, and yeah, I mean, a lot of this also comes down to, like, stuff we'll talk about when I do my summary of Halo 5's campaign, stuff with the mechanics of the game that impact every single mission that make it not very good. Unconfirmed. One of the missions I look on in this game, or at least I did, with a little bit better of a view than some of the others. I'm still going to put it at a D, and maybe I'll switch to a C in a sec, we'll see. But it's not terrible. It's fighting the Prometheans is still not very fun, but it at least is decent. I just always kind of remembered the setting inside the mining facility being kind of memorable, being able to pick up Nornfang. I was like, oh, that's neat. When I was, like 14 when that game came out. I thought that was kind of neat. The gun goose inside the mining facility, that's a cool little touch. I'm really picking for straws here about compliments for this. But yeah, the Warden Eternal fight, though. Awesome. Incredible. Yeah, no. The Warden Eternal fight is terrible. I forgot how lame it is. And especially the amount of times it comes up. And I start thinking to myself, what is a way they could have done this better if they still wanted to include a boss fight like this? If they just had the Warden Eternal have some, like, big changes, or, like, some new moves, or anything to switch it up. It's literally just every single time he comes back, it's either just him, or there's 2 of him, or there's 3 of him, which sucks. So, yeah. Unconfirmed. Evacuation. D. Whoops. D. Yeah, I don't like this mission. I want to put it at an F, actually, because the Warthog combat at the beginning isn't fun, and I was like, why is this not as fun as it should be? You're literally just doing what you've always done. But it's because the only other enemy vehicles you're fighting are other Warthogs, because Prometheans don't have land vehicles, so they just ride around in Warthogs, which are not fun to fight Prometheans driving around in Warthogs. That sucks. The elevator part, where you're just going up an elevator, which is most of this mission, I've always hated. I remember the day, like, when I played this campaign originally for the first time, I was like, this is not fun, this is boring. The only thing that makes this mission somewhat enjoyable is the little climb you have to do at the end to escape, but again, so much of it is scripted, and it just, yeah, no, you know what, I said I was going to put it at a C, it was going to stay at a D. I want to put it at an F, but, you know. Reunion, the second chief mission, 2 out of 3 in this game, incredible for a Halo game. I'm actually going to put it C. I think it's okay. Genesis is a setting I don't really enjoy. I think it looks kind of, like, gross, even though, like, graphically, I mean, it looks incredible, because Halo 5 is a very good-looking game. But, yeah, art, like, style-wise, I'm not a huge fan. And then, playing as Chief in this mission, just fighting the Covenant, is enjoyable for the most part. Again, you still have, like, Prometheans thrown in there, which kind of ruins it. And then you have another Warden Eternal fight, which sucks again. And then the Phaeton part is kind of like, I also remember when I played this campaign for the first time, I was like, oh, that part where you hop in the Phaetons, and that one Chief mission was kind of cool. But replaying it, it's just, yeah. I mean, it's one of the more memorable things in this campaign, but again, that is such a low, low bar that I'm not really looking to compliment it. What I am looking to compliment is Swords of Sanghelios, our first B for Halo 5. How exciting. Yeah, I really like Sanghelios as a setting, actually. I was super excited when the rumors back in like 2014 started circulating that we were going to go to Sanghelios, and I was like, that's going to be awesome. And it actually ended up happening, and I was pretty surprised by it. This is a mission where you just fight Covenant, and you're just fighting with the Swords of Sanghelios. There's a bunch of cool vehicle parts. The Mantis part is enjoyable enough. It has a nice variety of vehicles to it that I think works well. And it's just a fun vehicle sandbox focus level where you just fight the Covenant. And then you have a cool moment at the end where you meet up with the Arbiter. And I was like, oh, wow. I remember when I saw it for the first time, being able to fight with the Arbiter again was super exciting. So yeah. Alright, as we near the end of this, enemy lines. We're back down to a D. Even though it's on Sanghelios, this is the mission that I was like, man, I think I hate this campaign. Or at least when I first played, I was like, I've got some issues with this. Because there's, well, at least in this mission, there's no real moments that stand out. It's incredibly basic, incredibly standard. And then worst of all, the Kraken, which they were hyping up as the, like, spiritual, bigger, grander successor to the Scarab, is, lame. No, it's not just lame, it's terrible. Replaying it, it was making me so angry, like, fighting Scarabs in Halo 3, and then jumping right to this. Oh my god, it was... I guess to articulate this the best way I can, the reason why the Scarab works and is so effective is because it is an actual vehicle that you can interact with that's in the sandbox, that's destroying stuff, that's interacting with things. And it's the perfect size to where it feels grand and like you're doing something huge, but you're also like in a little, like an object in the sandbox. That's what makes it so great, and the amount of different ways you can take it out. When you get to the Kraken, it's literally just another environment, like as if any environment was being rendered in front of you. That's not exciting to fight. It doesn't move like how the Scarab would move when you're inside of it. It's literally just standing still for the most part. It's too big where, once again, it just feels like an environment. And then just you only have that one way of once you get inside, you just destroy that one thing, which again is true for the Scarab, but it's about the ways you got into the Scarab that made it exciting. There's only one way to get into the Kraken, because they just give you Phaetons, and then you just drive over to it, hop out, and do it. All that being said, I hate the Kraken. I hate this mission. Point made. Battle of Sunayon. My favorite mission from this game. I really enjoy this, actually. Even though it's Halo 5's gameplay, I think it is fun. And even though you fight Prometheans at the end, I just love the aesthetic of this mission, the architecture of St. Helios, all the little details, like seeing the grunts being able to like worship their the Guardians is super neat. And it also feels kind of climactic because this is... I was trying to remember, I was like, do you actually fight the Covenant again after this mission? Because this is where the Covenant, Jul 'Mdama's Dama's Covenant, are like pretty much destroyed. Like, there's no, like, this is where they mark the end of the Covenant. But you fight them in the last mission, so whatever. But, yeah, this mission I think is very solid. You just have the basic objective of taking out the turrets, which, hey, Halo 5 actually gives you a little bit of choice, where you're able to take out the turret or take out the power source. Not very exciting, but exciting for Halo 5. And that was cool. And just a mission that I just love the look of. Like, it just makes me happy being in that mission. I can't even point down exactly what it is. However, it also ends with a Warden Eternal fight, which sucks. I will say, when you're actually getting to that point and you're fighting up to the Warden Eternal and you're fighting with the Arbiter actually next to you, that is very cool. And it's probably one of the more fun Promethean engagements in the game. Genesis. C. I used to be like, this mission's awesome because you're running down the Guardian. But, yeah, when I went back and replayed it, it's, again, for Halo 5's campaign, one of the more memorable things, but that is such a low bar that there's really nothing, it's not super scripted, but it's just, you're just running and jumping, and you fight a couple enemies, and then it's over before, like, it is ever too exciting. So, yeah, I've kind of lost, like, interest on that, running down the Guardian. What really makes this mission great, and, or like, one of the things that makes it, I guess, more enjoyable, is Exuberant Witness, which is a actually very pleasant addition to this campaign that I really enjoy. She's the monitor of Genesis, and she is just a great presence to have, like a fun personality. Just her talking during every engagement makes the mission a lot more enjoyable. You're just fighting Prometheans, and it also, for this mission, is where the story kind of really gets going, so it's hard not to let a lot of the story stuff impact my thoughts on this. But the Wardens, you fight the two Wardens at the end. It still sucks, and yeah, so it's a decent mission, whatever, but Exuberant Witness makes it a lot more enjoyable. The Breaking. D or F. Cannot decide, but I'm actually going to put it at F, because the more I talk about this campaign, the more I don't like it, and the more that I think about this mission, I also hate. I used to think like this mission was one of the better ones. Then the last couple times I played it, it sucks, because the structure of it is so lame. It's also, once again, not like the story stuff going on in this mission. Oh my god, this is where we, obviously, this cutscene at the end of this is where we get exposed to Cortana, which I'll talk about at my campaign wrap up, but man, it's hard not to let that stuff get involved. And every single engagement in this is just go to another area that's silver and just looks like Promethean or Forerunner stuff. You go in there, Prometheans spawn in, and you shoot them with suppressors or scatter shots or light rifles. That is every single engagement in this level, and it sucks because the Prometheans are not very fun to fight in this game. The only saving grace for this mission is the music. The Trials, which is probably the best track in Halo 5, that and Light is Green are some of my favorites. But yeah, it's just like their iteration on the Halo theme. But now when I just hear the Trials, it just brings back bad memories, so I don't even know what to say about that. Also, something I forgot to mention, the turrets. The little, I guess, Promethean turrets, yeah, bring a like gameplay to a just screeching halt, and they're not fun to fight. They're just bullet sponges, and they just stop the flow of combat so much. All that being said, I hate the Breaking. That mission, ugh. Guardians, a mission I also don't hate, but I'm going to put at a C. This is kind of, this and Battle of Sunan are some of the only missions that really give you a little bit of choice in this game. And I like this because there's three little, don't even remember what they're called, balls. I'm going to call them balls. There's three balls you have to take out. And you can go take out the balls in whatever order you want. And there's like mantises you can use, or ghosts, or like different snipers you can use. There's little weapons hidden around. And there's a nice variety of vehicles. Exuberant Witness is once again nice. And then I was kind of, I feel guilty about this, but when I was playing it, I'd be lying if I like said I didn't have a little bit of fun listening to Cortana just like make fun of Spartan 4s, which is what she does for like a decent amount of that. She makes fun of Locke and Tanaka and all the characters that like on surface level are not terrible, but they don't have any personality. I mean, we know Buck, but Locke, we'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, and also this campaign ends, not the very ending, but that part where you're just in a room, just like killing Prometheans. It's not fun. It's not exciting. It's not like an interesting ending. And then when you get the actual ending, it somehow manages to give you less choice than Halo 4's ending, which you literally, that was just a quick time event. This one is barely even, you don't have to do anything. You just crawl up to that, and then, it literally, like, it's 343 taking the Xbox One controller out of your hand and then playing the game from that point. And it sucks. All that being said, this mission's still one of the more average ones in the game. So yeah, Halo 5. I realize I've never actually talked about it since I've been like competent, because we did a campaign review in like 2015, which if you really want to go check out, might be public, so you can go look for it. I remember not thinking it was very good though. But I mean, it's obviously only gotten worse with time. I guess we'll start with narrative first, since it's god awful. I was thinking about this, right, since I played from Halo 4 directly into Halo 5. They didn't have to go, obviously, the direction at all they went. And obviously there's the thing of, like, Chief's only in 3 of the, 12 missions in this game, which is absurd. And he's just in it so little, and there's so little focus on him. If you don't know who Blue Team are, then their interactions don't mean anything to you. And even if you do know who they are, their actions still don't mean anything to you because they're so bland in this game and there's not enough of them. Osiris, besides knowing Buck, who we know from ODST, Locke is a blank slate, and nothing about Locke is remotely interesting other than he's just a soldier. We learn nothing about him from Nightfall, if you watch Nightfall, which why would you, because it's awful. If you learn nothing about Nightfall, and then he has all these little things like, oh, he tried to kill the Arbiter once, and he recommended killing him, and then he's like, you're not the only one here because of him. There's that iconic line. What does that mean? Is it just general reference to Chief saving people? If so, what exactly does that mean? There's just, character-wise, just terrible. And then we get to the main actual plot of the game. Just so many things. Cutting off all ties from Spartan Ops in Halo 4, killing Jul 'Mdama in the first mission, Roland, having one scene, but then he's barely in the game after that, Lasky barely being in the game, Palmer, for some reason, looks terrible, armor-wise. That has nothing to do with the narrative, but I just thought I'd throw it out there. Maybe I'll do a review of Halo 5's campaign before Infinite comes out. But yeah, and then mission-wise, Find the Prometheans isn't fun. They take away everything that was sandbox-focused about the original games, and they create these scripted, cinematic, quote-unquote, sequences that are not remotely what people are there in a Halo game to do. And besides a few exceptions, like Swords of Sanghelios and Battle of Sunayon, which I really only like in terms of Halo 5, I still don't prefer them at all, more than to, older games missions, as you can tell by this tier list. Yeah, it's got a lot of issues. But yeah, Halo 5's campaign, not... the gameplay-wise and mission-wise, not very good, and narrative-wise is, unbearably terrible. So, all that being said, we did it. We ranked all, I don't even know how many, it's at least 50 or 60, so, a lot of missions, which is crazy. So just taking a look at this, obviously our S tier, if you guys have never played any of these 4 missions, these are my, honestly, I'd probably say my 4 favorite in the franchise, which is why that worked out so well. Probably even just Silent Cartographer, Covenant, and New Alexandria. All the A tier missions, I would also say, are very good and worth your time, just for a lot of moments. And again, I like a lot of these missions for different, I like Midnight for a completely different reason than I like Assault on the Control Room. But I still think those are some of the best of the Halo franchise. And then B are also all solid missions. And then C is, I'll say it for the last time, average. And then D sucks, and F is god-awful. And again, I would even still put the library better than the break. I hate the break. This mission is I can't stand it. Probably my least favorite in the game, or in the franchise, which is saying a lot, because I really don't enjoy some Halo 2 missions, but none made it to the point of being the break-in. Because they still were made by Bungie, and they still know what they were doing. All that being said, I'm going to stop talking, and I want you guys to tell me what your favorite campaign missions are in the Halo franchise. If you guys want to go on here, this is a public tier list that someone made, and if you want to go make your own, go ahead and do it. And just let me know what you guys think about my tier list. Do you agree with my S and my A tiers? Do you like the breaking? Do you like Halo 5's campaign? And I'm really curious what people think about Halo 2's campaign from a gameplay perspective, fighting the Flood and the Brutes, and what people think about Halo 4's campaign from a gameplay perspective. All that being said, tell me what you guys think about all that in the comments down below, and thank you all for watching Majestic Gaming.